Well, it is May, which in Alaska still means baby chicks and hoodies, but summer is coming, right? Yes, tell me. Yeah, I agree with you. These books are perfect for summer. You're right, baby. Yes. This is Galadriel. Say hi. And this is Goldberry. And they are 2 weeks old. And I can't have them in here with me the whole time because it's not warm enough. That's why I have my hands wrapped around them, because they still need warmth. So I'm going to go put them back with their sisters and tell you all about the books that I plan on reading for summer. Welcome to the Book Bar, where everything bookish is on the menu. I am Anjanette Barr, and it is time for my summer TBR. I have a previous video about all of my goals for 2021. I'll link that. And here in about a month, I'm going to be making a mid-year recap of all the things I've read so far, but I am well on my way to my goal of reading 50 books for the year. And I'm in kind of a planning mode. I've got, a transition in life that's natural every year going on. Our homeschool is wrapping up, and the sun has come out, and our baby chicks are growing, and I've just got lots of, behind this lovely tapestry is a grow light with all of my seed starts, so it's not quite time to plant, but we're getting ready for the garden. So I've definitely been in a mode of preparing for summer and thinking about the rest of the year. And so I came up with a list of 10 books that I want to read between now and September 1st to go along with a couple of other goals for the summer, including I want to walk. I think my goal that I've kind of set for myself is 123 miles during that time, because when I set it for myself on May 1st, that was 123 or 124 days until September 1st. So with that kind of window in mind, I have chosen some books that I am excited to read. And I made myself some umeshu, some plum wine, and I iced it because it is summer. I actually just came back from a walk, and I had this realization that I had enough time to make a short video. So umeshu and books, here we go. Okay, so I've divided these books into a couple of categories. Mostly fiction and nonfiction, but there's two in the middle that I'm specifically reading to find out if they are appropriate for my younger children. So none of these books are books I'm reading to my kids. If you want to know what I'm reading to my children this summer, I made a video about my 2021 read alouds, and I'll link to that as well. But I'm going to start out the summer as soon as I'm finished with some developmental editing work that I've been doing, which I'll talk all about in my recap video. I'm going to be starting out the summer with this lovely book, The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. And this was in my seasonal reading box from the Tea and Ink Society. I made a video about that just last week. And it came with some lovely accessories and tea that I tried this morning that was really good and very springy. And it may be May in Juneau, but it feels like April everywhere else, and it will until like July 1st. And then suddenly we'll all be like, what is this beautiful summer bounty? So I will be reading The Enchanted April first. This is a classic written in 1922 about a group of 4 women, I believe, who decide to take a vacation in Italy and see if it changes their life. So doing some literary daydreaming travel sounds perfect for summer. So that's number 1. Number 2 is When Christ and His Saints Slept by Sharon K. Penman, who just passed away. I have not read anything by Sharon K. Penman yet, but my good friend and fellow booktuber, Elizabeth, loves her. I think she's her favorite author. So she let me borrow this book, and I let her borrow a book, and we are going to swap. We already swapped. We're going to read these books, and then hopefully right here in my studio, we are going to come back and tell you what we thought about them. I'll link Elizabeth's amazing channel in the description below. It is called Suitcase Full of Books, and she writes about literary adventures, so literary travel. And so this book is not one that she has reviewed on her channel, and all I know about it is what she has told me in snippets, but I told her I didn't want any spoilers. So all I know is it's historical fiction and that she loves this author, and I let her choose which one I should begin with, and this is what she chose. Book number 3 is Forsaken Island by Sharon Hink. This is book 2 in the Dancing Realms trilogy, and book 3 comes out this month, and I did pre-order it, so I need to read this ASAP. I read number 1 and loved it, and it is a Christian inspirational fantasy set in a world where dancing is the magic system. So it has lots of, obviously, elements of faith and magic, and our female protagonist is especially gifted in a way that changed the whole world in book 1. So I'm excited to see how book 2 goes, and then I'll be ready for the culmination in book 3 when it gets here. All right, my 4th read for the summer is big. I shared that I wanted to read this in several videos before, Christopher Paolini's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. He is the author of The Inheritance Cycle, the Aragon books, and I read those when they first came out. I am about the same age as him, and it was really special to me that a young person was writing epic fantasy at that time, and now he has written an epic sci-fi. He says this is like a love letter to sci-fi, so I'm excited to see his interpretation of sci-fi. I have read and heard on BookTube mixed reviews about this book, so I was really enthusiastic when I purchased it, and then I kind of put it off because I was a little worried I wouldn't enjoy it, but I want to read it sooner rather than later, so that is on my list for the summer. Okay, so the next 2 books, Toughboy and Sister by Kirkpatrick Hill and Aleutian Sparrow by Karen Hess, are books that I have had on my shelves for a while that are both about indigenous Alaskans and set in Alaska. And I have an idea for a series of videos of my recommendations of my favorite books set in Alaska for all ages, picture books, chapter books, and adult books. So I was pulling all of them off the shelf, and I realized I haven't read these, but we loved 2 of the other books by this author we read, The Year of Miss Agnes, and I think it's called Miss Agnes and the Ginger Tom. I'm not positive on that title. I'm trying to see it across the room. And someone said that everything she's written is great, but I did read the back of this and saw that it deals with some pretty dark themes, and so I'm concerned about just handing it to my kids. I want to read it first. And similarly, this one is set in 1942, 7 months after Pearl Harbor in the Aleutian Islands. So this would be a World War II book, essentially. And it is written interestingly. It's written with short passages, and I think that it is basically journal entries. It might be poetry. I don't know much about it, but I think it'll be fast to get through. So these 2 books are on my list for kind of dual purpose, reading to see if my children will enjoy them, and then reading to see if I want to recommend them to you in a future video. And then this last group of books that I am planning on reading are all nonfiction, and I'm reading them kind of with other people in mind as well, and that's why they're bumped up on my TBR. My oldest son will be in 8th grade next year, and we're still doing kind of a general science. We're pulling from lots of different scientific disciplines, but then in high school, 9th grade, we'll start to dive deeper into specific disciplines, and so I'm reading a lot of science titles just to see what I might want to assign him. I made a video, it's quite a long video, but you can skip around in it, about how we homeschool with literature rather than textbooks, and these are some examples of the sorts of books that I would potentially hand to my children, actually all of them, but this one especially as well. instead of a botany book or a physics book, or in addition to something more structured, because they're all narrative nonfiction. So this next year he is studying, kind of putting an emphasis on physics. It's not quite as in depth as it will be for high school credit, but I wanted to read Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry and Storm in a Teacup, The Physics of Everyday Life. I actually don't know if this one is truly about physics or not, or if it's just a clever title, because if I don't give it to him next year, I'll stick it on a shelf for probably 10th grade or 11th grade. I haven't decided which order we'll do things in yet. And this book, obviously, I've heard a lot about, and I have a feeling that we will enjoy reading it together at some point. It's pretty popular. I probably don't need to tell you about it. And this one was a gift from my Aunt Gail, and it's just been sitting on a shelf, and I feel terrible, and she's coming to visit, and I need to read it before she gets here, but it also occurred to me that it could very well work for a school book, depending on the age that it's appropriate for. So just a little bit about it. It says that it is an introduction to the world of physics, and it says that in a warm and witty way, she answers questions like, why don't ducks' feet get cold while walking on ice? Why does milk, when added to tea, look like billowing storm clouds? So anyway, it seems like it's the sort of book that I enjoy handing to my children, because that narrative style engages our brains and shares ideas in a way that are likely to stick because they're in context. So these are 7 and 8 on my list for my summer TBR. And this term in school, this last few weeks, the last 12 weeks, we are studying weeds and flowers, and we've already read quite a few books. We read about Gregor Mendel, and we read about George Washington Carver, and we've read some, done some fun things with weeds and flowers, but we do keep a garden, and so I knew that this discipline of nature study for this year with my children will last throughout the summer, and I would like to read this book, which just looked intriguing to me, to see if it's something that I can either use to teach them more, or that I may hand off to some of my older kids. So this is Weeds in Defense of Nature's Most Unloved Plants, and it has some dandelions on the cover. I was really tempted to break out a bottle of dandelion mead for this video because of these dandelions, but that's definitely a summer drink, and I harvested and created that mead last June, and I really want to see what it tastes like at a year, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer. But I actually cultivate quite a few things that most people would consider weeds. My lawn is clover instead of grass, and I have plenty of other things in my garden that I let run wild on purpose for the pollinators and for the bears. So I have a feeling this book will be right up my alley, and I am looking forward to reading it when everything is actually green outside. And the last one you've seen in my video about the books I bought myself for Christmas. This is of Bears and Ballots by Heather Lindy, and she is an Alaskan author who lives in Haines, not too far from Juneau, and it says, an Alaskan adventure in small town politics. I've loved everything that I've read from her before, and this is her most recent that I picked up when it was new, and I just need to get to it as soon as possible because I want to give this to that aunt that I said is visiting when she comes, if she hasn't read this already. So I need to have read it so that I can pass it along. All right, so kind of a short video, but that's it. That is my TBR for summer. And let me know if you've read any of these before, and also if you have a plan for summer yet. Do you just mood read in the summer and pick up whatever looks good, or do you try and make a goal? I hope you're having lovely weather and that your year is wrapping up as well, and you're getting ready for some summer festivities, even if it just means the kids coming out of school. I hope you have a lot of happy plans and get a lot of reading in. So again, leave me a message. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. That really helps me out. And don't forget to tell me in your comment what's in your cup.